On that note, over to you, Marcin. I'll be fielding the chat on Marcin's behalf, although you're quite good at multitasking. I know that. So if there's any questions that you want to ask Marcin, pop it in the chat, and we'll get round to it hopefully at some stage this afternoon. Marcin, over to you.
Thank you very much, Jamie. Hello everyone, and my name is Martin Kasica. I'm joining you from Poland. So I know in the UK you are in the lunchtime, and this is one of this lunchtime seminar session. So I appreciate if you decided during your lunchtime also to listen a little bit of this funny speaking guy from across the water. I'm representing an American company called EoN XR. Myself, my background is in mechanical engineering, but I want to talk about, and I purposely chose this topic a little bit with a question mark there, is about is it a threat or an opportunity to use something called XR technology in the learning process? And as I said, I'm always happy to connect, and even though I'm involved in the EoN's reality in this business, particularly related to the XR. But if you would like to be interested in getting in touch and discuss a few other things, I will be happy to do it. And please feel free to contact me. So what's the plan? So the plan is that while you are having your lunch or watching your monitors, me speaking, we will discuss a few topics related to the technology itself. My assumptions might be that some of you might already heard about the technology itself, even about the company called EoN XR. Some of you may have not. And I want to give a little bit of introduction to this from the perspective of what is it, so later on we can understand and ask a question, why should we or should we not use it? And how is it an opportunity? As you can imagine, I'm going to be focusing more on that aspect. On the other hand, why it is not a threat, or where it is a threat to our learning process and for the benefits of the students we're working with. And as I mentioned, my background is mechanical engineering, though I've been working on multiple colleges and universities, starting from my alma mater at the Technical University in Poznań, Poland, but also traveling across the world and distributing training systems and developing curriculum and training systems and implementing a VR and AR technology in education sector and in an enterprise sector for over, right now, I counted this year will be actually 19 years altogether, so quite a long time, all of that. So I want to talk about those challenges that we've foreseen in learning, how and the technology is and might be used in the training. That will be another thing I would like to touch base a little bit. As well as Jamie mentioned, we have a partnership between University of East London and EoN XR. Partnership in the the aim of that partnership is to implement a solution called EoN XR. And EoN XR, I will talk more about it, but it's in essence, in one sentence maybe, it's a solution supporting a knowledge transfer, allowing you to create the content without need of coding. So I will demonstrate that process. And because AI is so popular topic right now, and I know you guys already had some session if you follow the previous seminars. So I think my colleague Rina Wolzinger, who is a Chief Learning Officer, she had a separate session, I think in March, if I'm not mistaken, about the using an AI and the role of the AI in the generating the content. And so I would like to also mention this. At any point, because we are connected via Teams, in which means some of you have a webcam, some of you have a microphone, some of you have a chat messages, I would like to truly encourage you to not be a passive listener. Enjoy your lunch, but don't be afraid. And Matthew, I know you're eating, and I maybe don't want to see that. But on the other hand, I will be encouraging all of you guys to also join in a different conversation, discussion, and asking questions. I will be happy to answer that. So first thing first, I mean, there is those different keywords, and I know it comes usually from the American format of putting lots of the different acronyms to the names. But being more on that, there is these technologies becoming more and more popular, more and more streamlined, related to the keywords like virtual reality, augmented reality, MR, which stands for mixed or mixed reality usually, or merged reality, and then there is also XR, which actually comes from the extended reality. And where do they kind of lead? And quite popular, another keywords that become popular recently was metaverse. So with all those different marketing spiel and what all of these different marketing types of the names, I just want to highlight one thing, that all of those technologies might be using by different people in different contexts. There is some, of course, a very academical approach to understanding it, but I like to approach it from a very pragmatic point of view, that right now we believe that we live in a real world, and that's what we spread. And on the other hand, more and more our real world is mixed with the digital media. And even you right now seeing me via this tool called the Microsoft Teams or Google Meet or Zoom or anything else, you don't see me in reality. You see an image of me digitally presented. That's why the digital technology has already been included in the human communications, in the people's communication very heavily. So what it has to do with the VR and AR, that when we are using a real world, this thing seems to be simple, right? And the learning process in the real world happens for centuries, and it's quite obvious how it looked like. We're going to be discussing it as well. But the more and more there is a need to incorporate a digital type of the media, and there are various modalities of incorporating them. So one could be that we're using augmentation. An augmentation of that, for instance, this virtual background you see behind me, it's a virtual background that is not real. Actually in my basement, in my house, working from home in Poland, where the background looks like a little bit more professional format. So it's already supplementing a real world with some two-dimensional augmented images that provides this augmented reality experience. The Milgram, Takamura, and Utsumi, and also Kishino, both one from Toronto and the other, I think, from one of the universities in Japan, Osaka, if I'm not mistaken. They came to these conclusions that, okay, there is the full ecosystem of virtuality spectrum, reality virtuality spectrum. And from one of the elements when there is a real world, going towards the digital worlds. And that's where all different terms came in. From augmented reality, when augmented reality becomes more interactive, then it's called mixed reality. And when it's fully digital, usually when we're wearing those kind of devices like headsets, goggles, or something similar to that, and we are fully immerse into the digital world. So that means anything that we see is 100% digital. Anything we see, it's interactive, and anything we see and also hear, because it involves multimodal and multi-sensual sensations, multi-sense sensations, then it becomes more virtual reality. And just to encapsulate that all in one, extended reality. So in essence, virtual reality, everything is digital, completely digital, augmented reality, real world overlaid with the digital images, and merged reality, which the object becomes more interactive and also with more immersive. And the reason I'm saying that, because if the topic is about the XR and its threat and opportunities, I want to also, from a historical point of view, highlight, and that's the picture I want to talk about, is that in the past, the industry, especially education as well, and this actually came from one of the universities in Dubai, the universities or research institute used those large projection systems in the past. And that's what virtual reality was in the past. Right now, we have, and I will be proving that, an access to those devices that allowing us, the mobile phones, smartphones, however we call that. But the thing is, those devices giving us an access to those technologies instantly, at any time, at any point, at any level of immersion we would like to use, depends on the functionalities that will be their design. And I want to say that the cost of the technology, access of the technology at the entry level to start to utilize the VR and AR has been changed dramatically in plus for a fact of being that use in education. And one more thing before we're going to go to some of the practicalities here is that the profile of the people who you guys working with the students probably for sometimes on a daily basis, and even from your perspective when you were the students, or right now from a perspective when you are the educators, you see that there are various kind of challenges coming up to the education. And one is, and I know what I'm showing here is a very generalized approach, and I'm sorry for that. But on the other hand, there is some major trends visible that from in the age of 40 plus, which is called the Generation X. And from the way I remember my school was that I was going to the school, I was sitting in my bench in my bench, and I was listening and believing everything that the teacher, tutor was talking to me, and I was told to follow, to repeat, and that was the educational style used back then. Very rarely questioning anything. And right now, when I'm working with the new generations, Generation Z, Generation even Alpha, which comes in to this educational sector right now, we see that there is no longer the style of learning that I get used to, that you probably get used to initially. We have to adapt as the educators to that style of learning. We have to be able to change our leadership style. We have to be co-creators. We have to push and change the format from even what I'm doing right now, sage on the stage. And very often we have to find, especially working in a group, working either physically or even remotely, we have to find a way that we could put the students in the middle instead of us being in the center. So the center of our focus should be the empowering collaboration and multi-module approach to the working with the students. And VR and AR in its essence allowing to do that. And there are some of the proofs and the evidence, clear evidence that using, and this is actually based on the using augmented reality by the company called Atlas Copco. They're a mining company. They also focus on some pneumatics and other devices like power generators. But they recognize, especially in the mining industry, that the teaching people within the service technician training using augmented reality could be 12 times faster comparing to the traditional methods that they used before. That the cost savings is also massive due to the fact of reducing the necessity of using real devices, using the real environments, and exposing people to the unnecessary danger. When it comes to the operators training, they also prove, and this is their data, I will be happy, of course, to provide some of the reference to that, but they says that the operator training can be done, and I'm going to say use the word only, though it's a very, very significant increase anyway, 2.7 times faster with a cost saving of 63 comparing. That's for oil rig operator training. So as you can see, overall, using a VR, AR technologies has proven records, and also in education. I think the BBC was repeating after International Institute of Education, saying that the students with using a 3D in the classroom, it's already increasing the scores result, improving those results, increasing the attention level, and overall helps the students to understand better even the difficult topics. All of that because our world is three-dimensional. So with all of this, in having all of that I'm kind of presenting to you, having that in mind, our roles as educators is to find a way that we can focus on those students, that we can be co-creators of the content for the students, that the students can be co-creator of the content for their own, and we can capitalize on the peer-to-peer learning, capitalize on the fact that the students in the classroom, they might not be the most effective time in their learning process. It's important, but not necessarily the most effective. And that the students, by having an access to those devices, can learn from any place, at any time, and we can work with those students also in any kind of a format we would like to foresee. And this is the vision of EoN Reality as a company, that we want to make sure that the people, either those are the educational students, learners, teachers, educators, or enterprise workers, smart worker, we call them, that they can capitalize on the ability to create the content, capture the knowledge, existing knowledge, distribute that knowledge, and makes it much more effective to make it available, affordable to anyone for that. And for that reason, you guys also at UEL, you have the access to the EoN XR platform. This application that I'm actually showed the link here, available on this address, www.eon-xr.com, is already available with thousands of licenses. If I'm not mistaken, Jamie, 5,000 licenses we have available for the UEL students and the faculty members. And currently, we're starting to see a usage of that, but still you are more encouraged to try it out and see how it might or might not, and I'm open for the discussion, be applicable in your domains. By the way, if you can maybe, if you have a moment, type in on the chat, what is your domain, what is the topics you're focusing on with the students. So maybe when I will do some demos, in the meantime, I will be able to show you something from your domain, or I will try to focus on some of the topic there. Howard, thank you very much. Healthcare, brilliant. So there is this platform, and this platform right now is concentrating on using a mobile device. Food science, brilliant. So we can also talk about this nutrition aspects and how we can go with that. And I don't want to play you the videos, and it's not the end yet, but I want to go to some practical demonstrations right now, so you can understand how easy it is and how easy it can be for you to utilize this application, or your students to utilize this application, and you to search for an opportunity to use XR into the training. And also thank you, Jackie and Jacqueline, for linguistic and English and academic skills. Perfect. I mean, as you can tell by my grammar errors, I will probably be happy to use that. But so there are quite a lot of the possibilities here. I want to show, and everything I'm going to be doing here can be done from multiple mobile devices. So no matter if you are using the Android device, like a phone from, I don't know, Samsung or Huawei or other manufacturer, or if you're using the iPads, iPhones, or the latest devices, pretty much we're trying to focus on the ability that the people can use it on multiple devices. We call it the agnostic approach. That means the idea is that you can create a content and then they can be played on multiple devices with multiple modalities, that our mobile phone can very quickly transfer to the virtual reality gate, that our mobile device, like the tablet I'm holding, will be becoming an augmented reality device. So I'm going to share some of the examples here, and I see those topics. Thank you very much, guys. And I would like to also have your input into it and the discussion. So you mentioned, for instance, about the health science, right? And I have to admit, and I always says that people who knows me online, even they know I'm not the big experts on biology, on the health science myself. I'm more mechanical engineer. But in that case, already within the application I have, let's say I would like to learn within the health science about healthcare, about some of the aspects of the healthcare, or maybe even the aspects of the human anatomy. So from within the application, if I would like to learn something, I can browse throughout the library, and the library overall is all the time growing, and it's great to have a library. But EoN XR is not only about the library; it's about the fact that you and your students, you have the ability to create your own experiences as a three-dimensional, immersive, interactive solutions. And once again, with no need for coding. So from within the application, we can create the experience. And I'm choosing the special experience here. And straight away, guys, by the way, this is what I'm saying. I'm on the green screen. So this is a check on the reality that I'm not actually in this virtual office. And the application, if you will try it, if it runs in the augmented reality mode, straight away I can see through and use the built-in functionality of my device, which means it has a camera. All right, and I can already utilize, and I hope, by the way, I'm hoping that we will be able to provide you also the audio correctly. I can place the avatar here. And the avatar.
Hi. What would you like to do? Create AI-generated show and tell our experience.
I'm going to stop the avatar for a moment. I don't know, just can I get a confirmation you guys can hear the avatar from the application?
Yeah.
Yes.
So the process, and that's probably Rina already mentioned that, but the process in here is focusing on the fact that either we have a teacher, if we have a real trainer, or we're going to have this artificial intelligence based avatar, we could have a process of creating as well as consuming various types of the experiences. And I will try to focus on either that will be the healthcare, as we said, or food sciences, or linguistic, which I think those are relatively easy. And we have options to either create, to explore, to browse throughout the library, and others. So if I would like to just browse through the library, I can go to the library, and that will allows me to choose the elements as it was before. And if I want to talk about, for instance, a human heart, in here, I can just start already created experience like that, and having this experience being placed as an augmented reality object on my desk, as you can see it here. So as an augmented reality object, either is an object, either is animated even the object, I have the straight away ability to look on it from any angle I want and gather that information. So on the question, of course, and that's probably I should say about the opportunities here, that the opportunity by us thinking on this about the smart devices, mobile devices, and VR, AR, extended reality is the fact that with only the device that we already have, the students can already see things that they will never be able to see a working heart in a real time as an augmented reality, where they can look on it from any angle, depends of course how it was designed. And not only that, but they have the full ability to interact, have lots of different elements, including the traditional training methods that you use in the classroom. Either, for instance, you're using like textbooks or others, when there is images, annotations, that you can already play them. You can also have
no audio.
and there is
Martin.
also a possibility to incorporate all kind of multimedia type elements, including the videos, including the images, including the text. So there is some other elements that we can already utilize and capitalize on the fact that, and this is an example thing. Sorry for one digression here. I was recently in the United States teaching at one of the colleges in Mississippi. And just to break the ice, I asked the students, I'm not going to ask them what book did they read recently, because most of them age was 18 till 21. So I said, I'm not going to ask them what book they read recently, because it's going to be hard to capitalize on that. But I asked, okay, so what kind of movie did you watch recently? And I was surprised, because they says, we don't watch movies. And I say, okay, so what do you guys do? We watch YouTube. And that's a kind of, that was a surprise for me, but it's true that the people spend more and more time watching, instead of a television, watching ad hoc, watching on-demand type media, including YouTube and others. So that's why we also incorporate the abilities here to have using a YouTube videos, using an existing training materials in the process. So it's an opportunity to provide information like an annotation on the real objects, where each object, except having an annotation, could have information attached to it related to the picture, video, or and having this, the full plan, full lesson plan being included there. The same thing with augmented reality, that where we can have even those as a floating portal, so looking into the augmented reality object, which I can place anywhere, even on, for instance, on the floating space here, I'm going to looking into that, and having the ability to look around and see those different elements that are attached to the objects. But so those are the options that I have straight away. What I would like to demonstrate also, so that's the going through the library, but okay, there is a content, but the people might say, and you might looking into that and saying, okay, but for me, it doesn't necessarily going to work because I have a specific content I need to have created. I have my curriculum and my I would like to use. So once again, we can go over the process when we have a communication, and it's based on this chat GPT communication, where actually I will be able to discuss any topic, any data with the AI assistant, but I have ability also to do create, and I can choose from a generated. And I put the education, and there are various elements here that I can choose already if I will be interested, for instance, in any of the topic in here. If it will be, let's say, let's go here, mining, tourism, mathematics, social behavioral health, and human services, for instance. And let's say I want to talk about the nutrition and special dietary needs. And I'm going to go next with that. And if I'm choosing the objects, let's say main components here, I'm actually follow almost like a step-by-step process, and I will probably need to sit a little bit further away. So the AI, this assistant that is presented in here, which I can see in the classroom environment in any kind of format I can think of, will generate right now on the go a necessary knowledge for me. So once again, we don't have to be even experts, like I am not. Okay, Jamie, you says no audio coming from the iPad?
Yeah, that's right. We can't hear if there's any audio coming from the iPad. We can't hear it in the presentation.
All right, sorry. I mean, I should be working. So let me just check one thing. I'm going to share my screen again and it might be echo in there. I'm going to share again. I will share again. Second, because I want to share with the audio, so you will be able to include audio system and share. There might be some.
Here is a video related to special dietary needs.
Is it working now, Jamie?
Yep. There's a
Please
tiny
select the
echo, but it's
keywords you wish to
workable.
use. You may choose more than one.
So actually in this process here, the AI generated based on the nutrition, some of the information, some of the facts, or also some of the videos based on that in the real world. So those are just a very typical and flat object that are coming in here.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Tuesday Talks. Today we're going to talk about some.
So that already encouraged the students to self-exploration of the topic. Plus, we have an AI component, which we can choose. For instance, I want to have a special dietary needs as a keyword, and based on that, I can even create.
A 3D object allows us to explore this subject further. If there is no suitable 3D model, you can choose a 2D image instead.
And if I would like to search something, for instance, let's say a food model, I can search for the library that might be, for instance, an important thing, and I can choose the objects, street food, log in on, I just have to be on the Sketchfab just a second because I just need to sign in with my Google account to be able to use the model. It's just the latest change, login successful, brilliant. Here, I already logged in. So I can place the object anywhere in my real world, and the AI that model will be downloaded, as you can see, downloading the model. And I'm in my basement, so you can see. And this object will be initialized and presented to me.
Select which show and tell presentation you want to watch.
And you have all different information here that you could choose. And you can choose, for instance, the vegan, vegetarian, gluten-free, kosher, low sodium. So all of that knowledge is automatically generated on any topic we will choose. But not only that, we can have still a conversation with AI.
Here are some of the main components: vegan, no animal products; vegetarian, no meat; gluten-free, no wheat, rye, or barley; kosher, Jewish dietary laws; halal, Islamic dietary laws; paleo, no grains, dairy, or legumes; low carb, minimal carbohydrates.
So I'm stopping this, but the thing is, here, the
What would you like to do next? Do you want to try out some assessments?
So you can see, actually, the AI is pushing me automatically. It's a little bit like this, this person who calls me and trying to convince me to do something. But on the other hand, it's actually allowing me to have fun with this object and adding multiple objects by even saying them. Food. And I can choose the models then from the library based on the voice conversations, also so finding some of the models that I would like to use, for instance, food on the table, auto-generate knowledge portal, and then on my real table, by the way, I can see here, I will see this object being presented and argumentally create a full, and we call it the metaverse. So the objects, multiple object, which has a sense and has an aspect of the social communication, and I can have a communication with AI. Would you be able to inform me what are the most commonly used meals when you are a vegetarian?
Give me a moment to formulate a response. There is no definitive answer to this question, as different vegetarians have different dietary preferences. However, some commonly consumed vegetarian foods include fruits, vegetables, grains, legumes, nuts, and seeds, and.
So there is a possibility to have a similar way as we having with the AI on the ChatGPT, having those conversations. So I want to show you a little bit more right now, and I'm going to change the context in here of this experience. So all of those experience from a learning perspective, we can also save. We can also make it sure that it's safe, it's secure, and it's also distributed to our students. So we have an ability to make it private, public. We can even, and there is a marketplace in which we can sell that content or publish that content for the others that will be able to play that. That's saying, imagine that your students will be able to see this knowledge report and automatically all the conversations that I'm having with the artificial intelligence assistant, all of the knowledge that was generated here is automatically created as the PDF documents with the images, with the text, with the video suggestions, with the information even that how you can use it in a classroom. So that means the students can have from their access of the mobile device access to all of that knowledge. I would like to, before we're going to go and discuss further on those questions about the threat, and I want to also maybe highlight one fact. McKinley Institute, which is focused on the predictions, which of course predictions are not always great, and it's sometimes like a guessing, but they're predicting that by 2030, so in less than a decade, right, at least 50% of the workforce will have to be retrained because the technology will move so fast further that some of the jobs will be no longer needed. Some of the jobs will be replaced by the automation and by the artificial intelligence. And it's overall, it's felt that AI and those technologies is a threat. is a risk to the humanity. On the other hand, the same institute in their reports, they mentioned that on the other hand is an opportunity, because we are seeing creation of the new type of the jobs, like for instance data analysis, and which didn't exist before, or AI specialists, which will be necessary to use the AI image recognition order in the medical science, in the language, in any kind of a sciences altogether. All right. How accurate is the info provided by the AI? And the answer to it, Valerie, thank you for that question. And just to answer that very straightforward, that depends. Because AI, as you know, it's a model that is trained. The more important in here, I want to show the trends. Because right now, the students will say, if something doesn't exist on Google, it doesn't exist at all, right? And the thing is, AI is learning. There are models, more and more perfect models. And this is McKinley report, and let me just pull that data in here, if just for showcasing. McKinsey Global Institute report estimate that automation will replace 400 million and 800 million people worldwide by 2030. This is the, and I'm able to provide you the report, link to the report, if you will be. Actually, I will check it because the link I was checking before, but I will be happy to kind of give you information where it came from. And there was actually estimation that half of the workers in Japan and 33% of the workers in the United States will require retraining. Okay? Julie, is that okay so far? I will of course provide you more info if you will be interested into that.
That's perfect. Thank you. Thank you.
Marcin, can I just check? Are you going to need the audio from the iPad, or can you revert so there's no echo? Again.
Oh, sure. I want to. Okay, sorry, Jamie. I mean, it should. Let me revert. Please let me know if you can still see my screen.
Yes, I can still see the screen and the audio is better. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for that, Jamie, for the feedback. Okay, I will be actually showcasing my iPad, but I will probably do, so you can hear me, I will try to do it that you will still be able to hear the audio from the iPad. Maybe that will work better. But what I want to show you, very often, so this is the process of creating a content, could be based on the three-dimensional models, where we're choosing either the avatar, and we doing like a, for instance, creating and choosing some of the models we would like to use. And I could you hear that, by the way? Is it, or did you, you were not able?
Yeah, just about, yeah.
Okay, so then when we look, sorry?
It was distorted.
Okay, sorry for that. In that case, I'm trying. I mean, Google. I mean, I'm usually against Microsoft Teams because from the perspective of using the multimedia, Teams is not the best solution. But it's like a discussing what's more important, right? So Teams is good as long as it's probably my fault. But what I'm trying to say here, if I don't even going to find the topic I would like to do, I can choose the elements and use the voice. For instance, you were mentioned here when I looked on the topic Earth, planetary sciences, planetary system. And I can use my voice recognition, and I can use the elements like a planetary system. And I can choose the keywords here. And in a moment, what will happen, this AI, and I can, of course, personalize the AI. It can be looking to the, if I would like to have some specific look, some specific outline, there is a possibility of the person. There is a possibility to fully customize that. And I would like to also, when it's going to generate some of the knowledge here, it should. And it will generate all kind of things. Jamie, let me know if there is audio is so bad.
It's pretty bad.
The audio is bad, but we get the gist of it. So she's basically reading the description, yeah?
It's about actually generating that description based on the questions as well. So it generates. But there is one more thing I want to talk to you about in here. We have ability. Let's imagine that I would like to teach about the language, right, or linguistics. I'm purposely choosing some of those topics that some of you guys put on the chat message. So here, let's say I want to teach somebody who will walk with their mobile device. Let's imagine that this is a laboratory. This is some kind of a laboratory at the university that the students will be able to access, or maybe a factory enterprise environment. And what I'm having an ability is to add something called a persistent tracking. So I can use the functionality of the mobile device, which is related to the GPS, related to the image recognition of the space, and create a virtual anchor here. And with the GPS data, with taking a picture of the environment and saving it, which means anyone who will walk in this location and anyone who will run the application will be able to launch exactly the same elements that will be linked to the object, real object in a real environment, and also have the conversation with AI and generate the report. So let me show you how it works. So I have an ability right now to add annotation to real objects. So for instance, computer monitor. So I'm adding the annotations to the real objects in here, right? So I can add annotation here, webcam, and I can add this annotation on also, not add that it's going to read the text, but it's going to generate the text. So in here it says, give me a fun fact, and it's give me a fun fact that the first webcam was created in 1991 at University of Cambridge. It was used to monitor and so on. It will also read it to me with a different accent I would like to have. Can you hear that?
No.
I can't.
Check if there was any coffee without having to leave their desk. This webcam was the first of its kind and is credited with starting the trend of webcams.
So having this, you could hear a little bit in there. I'm sorry if the audio quality isn't the best, but I have still the ability in here, just using once again, provide me the most known manufacturers of the webcams for the PC. And I can have this conversation in that language. And of course, depending also from linguistic point of view, if I have a settings on my device, yeah, I can, for instance, if I will say, provide me some basic information about the webcams in German. So I can even use a request from the AI to create the text and information in a specific language, which will be then provided. Not in German language. It should be providing me the text in German, but because it's possible. Okay, and I will be able to use the language to read these elements also in the specific language. So if I will choose here the German and the voice, for instance, of Hans, that information will be. So in that case, when you're looking about the ability for the students to annotate the real world objects and having them with the text, with the image, having them with the video and other elements, you can easily create the full scenarios and also build the assessment process as well, because for that elements, you have an ability to also build up the assessment process like a quiz, assessment process that will be based on the asking students to locate the object, asking students to identify what it is. That's already possible within this structure. So I will also show you here, for instance, clock. Actually, I should be using that in the English. Clock. Clock. Now it doesn't want to do it in American English. Let's just do it again. Clock. Oh, a Murphy's Law, just a second. And I can add, for instance, let's try monitor and add annotation. I will add another computer mouse. And I will add, for instance, in here, mobile phone. And having those real world annotated, and I will once again clock and having it there. So anything, I'm adding those annotations to the real object in a real environment, and the AI is there. So if I will ask a question, can you tell me about the role of each component in the computer? Please make sure you include the webcam, mouse, keyboard, monitor. What is their role? And I can have those kind of a normal conversation. And here I have to be a little bit further away because here
The web. The map. The key. The map.
and the thing is, the AI is able to recognize those objects in the real world the way we have it there, and also provide information about them and having a conversation with us. And within that, also just to give you an overview here, we have ability to save this experience. And also what you will see here, this experience has also been saved with the GPS data. So I'm actually talking to you from Poland, right? So saving also information about what audio, what video, your existing PDF, and other activities like quizzes, and I will also demonstrate you a 3D recording in a moment, that we can build and demonstrate the full procedures. So before I'm going to do to the next part of the presentation, I want to stop for a moment. Yes, so you, Jackie, I see your question about the slide of a different generation and a preferred learning style. Where the research came from? That's a very good question, and let me pull that information. McBride, if I'm not mistaken, McRindle. It's actually the Australian macrindle.com.au Australian website where I use that, and that's where it came from. And I will be happy to share the exact, Jackie, information where did I took this info from. Is that okay? Sorry, I know you asked the question 11 minutes ago, but I just noticed it here. All right. What I want to show you also in here, in that case, is, okay, so we're talking about the education. We're talking about the abilities of creating. And I don't know how about in your class, but very often I saw in the class when I was a visiting tutor saying, no phones allowed, switch off your phone, mute your phone, don't use your phone, all kind of things, because we know it's a distraction in a classroom. Do you still have those kind of classrooms in your university that it has this little mark on there, don't use the phone, right? You have it? Probably there are. And probably some of you will say that there is a problem that the students get very easily distracted. But, and I'm without being mean, but we have right now 41 participants in the meeting. And don't get me wrong, I know my weaknesses, right? I talk a lot, monotonic and other things, but how many of you been distracted in the meantime? We all been distracted because I didn't use various types of the modalities, right? If I will ask you that you can collaborate with me, being in a virtual environment that we can see each other's and being able to see standing next to each other's as an avatars, that will definitely be more engaging in discussions, right? where you can communicate using your voice, you can communicate in being represented by your avatar. That will be engaging. And that's another functionalities inside this, that we have ability to have and host, same way as we're doing Google Meet or Microsoft Teams meetings, also to host the meetings inside the EoN XR platform. And I want to show you one more thing before that, and before demonstrating this, that if you're going to be logging into the platform, and you can log in from the website as well. So in the classroom, you might have the computers. You have ability to see all of your experiences that you are creating. You have ability to create even a 360 experiences, and you have at your university cameras that allowing you to capture your real world environments, that you are able to capture, to play, to put your students into the photorealistic digital twin of your existing scenarios. So in here, we have ability, and this is our former office that we had, and we have ability to have annotations on the real objects, on the photo of a real object in a 360 format. We have ability to have a quizzes in which we are asking questions about, for instance, this is a projection system, or this is actually eye catcher, and being validated on those and easily create that. We have an ability to be teleported to the different and do the full virtual tour, that we can go from one place to another and having a virtual tour in which we are going from the sequence of different places. And creation, building all of that experience does not require any programming skills. It's a very simple process that can be created based on your data, based on your photos, that Jamie Meacham and has access to that, and probably will be able to provide you information how you can take the photos and go to the different environments and build that experiences that you can go from one office to another and explore. So that's one of the things I want to mention. But I want to also talk about one more thing in here in regards to the, and I'm going to be leaving the remaining 15 minutes for discussions as well about the questions you guys might have. But I want to also tell you that the problem and the challenge that I hear is, okay, how we can present our own content. That's very often the case. How I can make students more interested about the topic, right? And within the library, we have lots of the 3D models, but the devices, like for instance, the iPads or lots of the new modern phones and tablets, they have ability to scan, to do the 3D scanning of the environment. And here, for instance, I have a scanning of actually in a museum. I went to the veterinary museum and I done the scanning of one of the exhibition and the veterinary museum, not being able to enter that. Actually, that was from the distance done the 3D scanning. So the latest devices right now have ability, like I'm going to be showing you right now. So this is once again, welcome to my basement, and it's a little bit messy, but that's fine. And smile, please, because I'm actually going to be, don't worry, I'm going to be actually right now, there is a process that I can go over, which is called the 3D scanning, which I can capture the full environment from any place I want, no matter how untidy it is. It's a basement, so I will allow myself, but I have the ability to have that object. I have ability to process that and upload this to the platform, so I can share that environment with my students, or I can share that environment with them and saying, you, based on that environment, tell me, where is the risk? Where do you see, for instance, or name the object from the linguistic? Provide 5 sentences using verbs, the descriptive words from a linguistic point of view, and provide me the description of what it is here, right? And you can see that it is quite precise, even doing it very quickly. You can tell that there's a 1 hour difference between our time zones, but you can see yourself quite well, right? And thank you very much for having a webcam on, because at least, as I said before, it gives me the idea that there are some real people on the other side, which is important. And I have an ability just to export that model directly into the platform and share with the others. So just to uploading it, giving a name, for instance, UEL test, and upload this to the cloud And when I'm uploading it from my mobile device, as you can see here, and it's going to go through the process of preparing it, but in the same time, and I'm going to be on the tablet, set up the thumbnail, just making sure that the model will be there visible and there will be some representation. It will come in a seconds. But when I'm doing it, in the same time, even if I will put it down, in my workspace, in my assets, yeah, just it needs to kind of load it, but it will be also presented there in a few moments. The time will be available there also for me to use from within the website. So that's another possibility, that all of those things are, because of a cloud-based solution, this UEL test, which doesn't have yet a thumbnail, but it's there, and I can theoretically use it to create the experience myself on the desktop, on the mobile. And one last thing I said about the collaboration, an ability to collaborate. And here, when I look on the chart, I think the one topic which I didn't talk about, which was listed there, was engineering. So actually, in this case, I'm going to use the engineering example to show you one last thing and open ourselves to the discussion. How is it a threat and how is it an opportunity, or where are the opportunities at UEL that you can foresee? In here, in the options, we have ability to, of course, create the experience, edit the experience, and I will create something like a 3D recordings, and I can also have a meeting with the other people who having this application will be able to join me. So I'm going to be placing an object here. I can place the object even in 1:1 scale if I want to, or this is some CNC machining, some of the engineering, mechanical engineering equipment. And I have an ability with having this model to create a 3D recording. So right now, I'm recording my audio, but I'm able also to record all different activities that I'm doing. So I can be looking on this machine, I can grab the elements, disassemble the objects, look on the individual objects in here, the machine, look at from multiple angles, change different things I would like to have and see annotation. There is an axis, there is maybe some animations being played as well to show me. I can use the pointer here, I can disassemble it, take it apart, go up to the individual components here in augmented reality and even take it apart, build it like this. And when I'm pressing a stop button, all of the things that I put here into this lesson will be collected. So all of that knowledge that I kind of try to share using my own voice, I don't know how well you can hear it because there was some audio problem on my tablet, but the thing is, my audio is being recorded. So when I play it, so all of those things inside the 3D recordings, I'm able to play and I'm able to demonstrate by either the hand like that, or if I have the model in 1:1 scale, eventually it will be the full body avatar that will be playing and presenting this information to the audience. Plus, and as I said, we're going to open for a question. There is option to start the meeting. So same way as you joining online meetings with the Google Meet, with the Zoom or Microsoft Teams, there is an ability here that I can start an online meeting from within my mobile device. You can see here where I will see the list of the participants, if I will invite them, if I will provide them the access, and I can have an audio communication, video communication related to the interactions with the objects within this format. Okay, a lot of things I wanted to show you, but there is some summary I would like to do, and some of the things I would like to just kind of mention in here from a perspective of our main question. Just a second, guys. Let me, because there are too many things I have opened. So let me just show what is the the most important thing here. Okay, so from a point of view of a threat, there is always a possibility that the students will, because it's a mobile application, I'm purposely showing you, because it's a mobile application, the students will do all kind of things and there will be distraction. But because you can put your personal elements like your own voice, your knowledge, it's a multimodal format. And we know that attention span is the biggest problem of the students in the classroom, not only in the classroom, but and the biggest problem of any corporation is a communication problem, right? How to collect the data from a subject matter experts and keep them in the way that they will be displaying it, because they will be retired, because they will be away, and having access to the knowledge anytime, anywhere, at the demand. So in that sense, AI, it doesn't generate the knowledge always perfectly. It will sometimes say the wrong things. For instance, if you will ask AI that was trained with the data from, if I'm not mistaken, 2021, what is the currency in Croatia? It's still not going to say it's euro, because they accepted euro in January 2023. But it's still going to be talking about the previous currency, because it's a learning process. But the essence is the models with the ChatGPT, with the Google Bard, with all the AI models that become available to the users, it's more and more available also, and more adequate, more and more predictive. There is a full science called the prompt engineering, and I just want to kind of mention that, though, that we as a EoN Reality, we integrating AI. We are a company that try to integrate. We don't reinvent the wheel. We're trying to find how to use different things together. But if I will ask the question correctly, for instance, write me 5 learning objectives that I can use in class, in a lesson about nutrition for students of year 1 of University of East London. Please write them in the... So, okay, just doing like that. If I will do it even like that, it will provide me the AI is already able to provide me things that will be even following the Bloom's taxonomy related to the correct naming, correct elements. So it can help you from education point of view to do that. I'm saying prepare lesson plan for this topic. And no, it's just a technology, right? So it will provide me to educate students to improve their nutrition, importance of nutrition, how to balance, 45-minute procedure, introduction. All of those things can be generated. I'm not saying perfectly. We might need to teach the AI what is our preferred format. But we have also the ability here saying, what 3D model should I use to demo it? And that it will even suggest me what 3D models I could do. And the more we will incorporate it inside the application, we will be able to provide that in the format of more intuitive, more engaging. Okay, I talked more, but I'm opening myself. I'm going to put right now stop sharing the screen for a moment, and I would like to hear your question, your thoughts, and the discussion, please. Antonio also had to leave early, I understand that. We have still a few minutes left.
Let's see if anyone's brave enough to go first. I thought it's worth reminding everybody, so whilst the University of East London hosts these seminars, they're open to external invitees as well. So we've got representatives from multiple organisations, possibly multiple countries as well. So thank you for the presentation. So absolutely, this is your chance. Quite obviously condensed, a lot of information, short amount of time to digest and process. But you do have about 8 minutes if you want to pick Marcin's brain. If you think of something after the event and you're kicking yourself, as Marcin said, he's fully contactable via LinkedIn and what have you. So you've got quite a good online presence.
Okay, Valerie asked a question already. So Valerie, to answer your question, there is an ability for everybody to log in individually. Unfortunately, right now, we do not have a single sign-on with Microsoft. I know our team were looking into it for some time, but no. But there is another good news. Your university can link this tool with your learning management system. So if you're using Moodle, for instance, as a learning management system, there is a possibility to directly integrate that. That means students don't even have to create the account, and students can automatically access and be authenticated via your existing learning management system. So that's the possibility. As per the ability to log in, the login is based on the email address, and anyone can log in through the platform. But unfortunately, there is no single sign-on. I'm pushing that to be done. I'm sure it can be done, but unfortunately, we do not have yet Microsoft in there. We have Google, we have other solutions, Apple and others, but we don't have Facebook, but we don't have yet the Microsoft. We'll make it happen at some point. What personal data is stored within the app? And that's a very good question. We don't want to store any personal data, to be honest, but there is always some of that. So first of all of that is regulated by the agreement, and there is a separate section in the agreement between EoN Reality and the UEL related to the GDPR, data, intellectual property, etc. So from our point of view, we store only information about the users, but of course, if the user put own voice, own recording, and other elements into that, then it will be stored within this application without the experience. But it is the user's decision or creator's decision who and how should be able to access their experiences. So as a teacher, you can create the experience that only you accessing, and the administrators of the platforms, which are the lead administrators on the UEL side, but also on EoN's Reality side. But you can also distribute and make it available publicly to all of the students if you want to. But it's only within the UEL family, so it doesn't mean it's going to be available to anyone outside it if you do not want that. There is a full control of that content. The 3D scanning feature is amazing. Thank you. Yeah. And actually, I can tell you some years ago, actually, we done a JISC project when I was working, and don't laugh, at Doncaster College. We had a JISC project actually, which was using already augmented reality as an open educational resources, and that was in 2009. And I'm going to say that because I'm a mean person, Jamie knows that the current principal of the college says there is no future in VR and AR. And that was 2008, 2009, and he made all of us redundant, which was the best thing ever happened to me from a professional point of view.
But we just attended this last 2 months ago, and it was still the same, and it was like they made it themselves, but it wasn't nearly as nice. So is this 3D feature fairly new then? That you could just scan the environments that you want, which can give a more realistic sort of a imagery that you kind of, it's interesting and exciting to interact with, rather than the things that you make yourself and they're not nearly as nice.
Thank you. But the thing is, it's a technology there. It's going there and there more and more. And there will be actually more AI supporting generating a content based on the images, on the single image, on the description, on the text. There is a possibility to generate that. There was a question about where is the data stored. So we are a global company, and we have servers. We use Amazon Web Services. We have an agreement, and just from the perspective, some of the data is stored within the European Union. Some of the data is stored in Singapore. But as I said, all of those depends on the technology, is regulated by the agreement that we have signed. And we have also, and just so to let you know also, to maybe secure you, EoN becomes a public company. which was going to happen to be on the US stock market. So as a public company, we are obligated to be, of course, open and secure from that perspective, right? Because of the investment. So that means it's going to be secure, and it's secure already. What is the best way to find out about the future seminars? That, Jamie, there is a website that's already talking about it. And actually, when I was searching the description of this one, if you search UEL, University of East London, lunch technology seminars, you're going to find, and there are even bright invitations for that.
Yeah, so just to repeat that, so we're on, we advertise our lunchtime seminars by Eventbrite. If you go to the link for this one, you'll see posted by the Centre for Excellence in Learning and Teaching from UEL, and you can click on that, and that's our profile where we publish and advertise future seminars. So I'm not sure if you were here right at the start. Our seminars cover the length and breadth of topics relating to learning and teaching. So they're not always about technology. They're largely pedagogical, but they're from all professions, all walks of life that touch upon learning and teaching in higher education.
So you can see here on the Eventbrite. I have to admit, because when Jamie asked me to attend it, I sent some details, but it was in March or February, something like that, when we planned it, or something. Anyway, long time ago. And the thing is, I even forget what will be my topic. So I actually searched online to see what was the topic I suggested there, and it was easy to find it there on the online.
That's right, the lunchtime seminars. Brilliant. Right, I'm going to draw a line under it there. That's our time and everyone's time for this topic and this afternoon. Thank you so much, Marcin, for your presentation. Really appreciate it. Very interesting. Lots to think about there. Thank you very much. Thanks to all who've attended. As I mentioned at the start, the presentation was recorded. The recording will be made available in due course. If there's anything you'd like to revisit or share with your colleagues. Thank you all once again for attending. Much appreciated. Hope you all have a lovely day. Thank you.
Thank you. Enjoy the day.
Going to close the meeting now. Thank you. Bye, everyone.